because it's going to be on YouTube. And without further ado, we will start. So, guys, I'm really, really happy to introduce Brother Air. And part of our members actually know you, and they said that you are a legend.
Oh,
Yeah, but many other people don't know you. So,
okay.
and I personally had this when I listened to your video. You mentioned that you have been practicing mucusless diet for some 40 years, but you actually look 40. So are you practicing it from birth, or you just look much, much
Oh,
younger than, how old are you?
I'm 61.
61.
Yeah, I'll be
That's,
62 this year in
that's,
December. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
I've been practicing the Mucusles Diet since 1982.
Good, good.
Yeah.
Okay, Brother Air, so let's just start right from the beginning. So please introduce yourself for those people who do not know you, and tell us a little bit about your personal story.
All right. Um, my name is Willie Smart. That was my birth name. Born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. Uh, was very interested in studying music at 4 years old, studied drums and percussion, played in the youth symphony orchestra, traveled with that orchestra all over. And I mean, this was at very young age. And my pursuit with music was to be a jazz musician. Um, my mother raised me with my grandmother and a bunch of aunts, but my mother was a very successful postal worker, assistant postmaster in Cincinnati. So I used to go to a private school, like with 4 people in it, like up until probably the 4th grade, 4 or 5 people. I mean, it was really, really private, riding horses, boats on the, pedal boats on the lake. And this was our recess. And swimming and, out. So it was kind of a somewhat privileged life in the 60s, especially for a Black child in the 60s in America. But my mother provided that for us, and she was always about education and study. So she would just bring books in, and from all the poets to philosophers, and she would just, talk me and my sister into dealing with that stuff, just at a young age, man. We were, I was reading Tolstoy and, just, it's like big old book, so I got used to that, that kind of, because my mother was into it, and so, how you want to impress your mom. So you do what she do, and so, and then the study of music, classical music, jazz, especially jazz. Jazz was what I really wanted to be, and that's what I really started studying and practicing when I was 7, 8 years old. I was practicing probably 4 hours every day, plus going to school, playing sports. I was on such a schedule at that point, and my mother used to say, "Man, it's gonna kill you, man. This schedule." But it was things that I wanted to accomplish, and it was always about pleasing my mother. It was like she kind of set high expectations for me and my sister. So this was a part of it. Like, if she bought me some drums, then I better learn how to play them. That was her thing, was that, okay, you say you want to deal with this. Okay, if I get you the tools that you need, you better do your thing, So I wasn't about letting her down on no level. So studied the music, went back to public school, hated it, uh, left public school. My mother took me to a car dealer and told me to pick a car out on my 16th birthday, a new car. I picked a new car out, um, and within 3 or 4 months, I left and went to New York. I was 6. I just dropped out of school because that's where the musicians were, in New York. So if I was interested in jazz, if I wanted to be a jazz musician, I had to go to where the jazz musicians were. So, and at 16, you don't have any, I didn't have no girlfriends that was holding me back. I didn't have no children. Uh,
So we
and
are
it was,
talking now, I'm sorry, Brother Erso, we are talking now about the late 60s, or which
so
period are we talking about?
this is probably like 70, 76, 75, 1975, 76.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So uh, go up to New York within 2 or 3 days. I'm working. I'm actually playing with a well-known band. Just I don't know how that happened. I think I slept in my car like one day, and then met somebody and crashed and went to a session, and Emily Rimler, the guitar player, just happened to be at the session, and we started talking all night, and next thing you know, we hanging out. Little did I know that she had a record deal, and she had gigs and stuff. So we just started gigging immediately. And I did that and was becoming really popular around New York, as far as one of the first calls. I was getting a lot of gigs and a lot of calls to do things. And I really didn't like that. All I really wanted to do was be a part of a great band. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to be the person that everybody calls for work or doing this kind of music, doing that. I just wanted to be a part of a real creative band. But I did do that. It's kind of like you're just working and they're calling you and you just checking it out, because you're young. You just, oh, wow, I get a chance to go up in this studio, or I get a chance to go to this club, and meeting people. And so I did that, and my diet was just the lemon meringue pie, hamburgers, hot dogs. I was the kind of person, if I went to a restaurant, I only got chicken, hamburgers, and French fries. I wouldn't go to Mexican restaurants. I wouldn't go to Chinese restaurants. If I went to a restaurant, it was hamburgers, French fries, or chicken. That was it.
Mm.
So I was eating that. Then all of a sudden, what kicked back in? Well, I think I left out. My mother took me to a Dick Gregory lecture when I was back in Cincinnati. Me and my sister, I was about 14. Took me to a Dick Gregory lecture, me and my sister, at the University of Cincinnati. That was the first time I had ever heard of vegetarianism. And at that time, Dick Gregory was talking more diet than conspiracy. So it just really did something to me. And I remember my mother telling the story how after that, I would come home and boil all the water. And so I was into that for a little while, but I still wasn't a vegetarian, but it was in my head. Something had did something to me, and I was just kind of biting at the bit to get into this thing, but my life was moving, my life was moving. And So then, I mean, while I'm in New York, I met some people who had a hookup to all the cocaine in the world. And I mean, like the real deal hookup. Like, and these people really dug jazz, but they really dug me. So I knew musicians who got high. So it started there. I knew musicians who got high. So I'd be like, well, I can supplement my income here. And he was fronting it to me. So I didn't have to have any cash. He was just giving me dope. So I was selling dope to all the musicians. And then it hit me and say, well, what about all these musicians and people on tour and all that? So make a long story short, I became, as well as playing, but I was doing less and less of playing, trying to schedule it. But I became like the dope dealer to the stars from everybody. I mean, I could go into names, but I mean everybody from Hollywood to, and I was traveling, going. I mean, like tours would be on. People would be on tour, and they would be down in Denver somewhere, and I'd jump on the plane. That's why I could jump on a plane with 10 ounces of cocaine on, and nobody would know, and I would take that down to the band. I mean, we talking about well-known rock bands that you would know if I mentioned, and groups. And so I did that, man, for 3.5 years, and I started wearing these designer suits, Hugo Boss and Carnelli, and just very expensive suits, and really looking really clean, like a businessman. So then, if you notice, around that time, late 70s, early 80s, there was a resurgence of jazz musicians called the Young Lions. People like Wynton Marsalis, myself, all of us was like 20, 21 years old, and so Dr. George Butler of Columbia Records and Stanley Crouch and Albert Murray and them came up with this idea of this post-bop type of resurgence of young musicians. And so when you see them wearing the suits, that all came from me, because I was already wearing the suits. And, most of the jazz musicians at that time were dressing like rock stars, T-shirts, jeans and stuff. So I kind of bought that back, but Wynton got the credit for the suits, because he really took off, he really became like a major star. And I was turning down gigs because I just had this other life going on. I was meeting everybody, and from Andy Warhol to Basquiat to, I mean, these were like my partners. I was hanging out with them at their house. And
Brother Air, and were you yourself taking any drugs at that time?
yes, yeah. I was a big snorter, because I had to turn on so many people all the time. And yeah, so I snorted, and I would smoke occasionally, just on like my birthday, like special occasions. I understood how to not use up my source of income. You know what I mean? It was like, I wasn't like a full blown like I'm gonna, I made a lot of money, and this organization that I was in, because it was an organization that I really didn't sign up for, but I was a part of it because they were fronting me so much. And and my business had took off so heavy that I was just traveling everywhere, and you'd be surprised at the stars that was getting high, but you probably wouldn't, you know. Uh, so
Okay, I'm sorry, brother Air. We just will have so many questions. I just
yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I just want to make
yeah.
it a little bit shorter so that we have enough time for questions
Right,
about our subject. So please tell us.
right.
So
So
how?
I got into that. And I ended up uh, getting a. Ended up coming home, and I ended up coming home for a visit and seeing some musicians in downtown Cincinnati playing some real avant-garde music. With that was really new. Like, so I got out to meet them, and they told me, said, yeah, come over to our rehearsal space. So I told them, I said, yeah, man, I'm checking this vegetarian thing out right now. And they said, well, have you heard of Arnold Ehret, Mucusles Diet? I was like, no, I had come to find out I had the book in my bag. You know, once I got home, I already had the book. I just, because when I would be on the road traveling with people, I would go to all these health food stores. Because at that point, even with the cocaine, I was really investigating the vegetarianism and carrying a juicer around and a cooler. And I was trying to be a little healthy, even though I was doing dope. And so I ended up getting into the Mucusles Diet through Victor Buttram, the most intelligent man I've ever met in my life. Uh, uh, so that's where it started for me, man, practicing. And I slowly but surely kind of got rid of the dope thing after a couple of years of really just I just shut it down. Like, got out of the business, and they were kind enough to let me go because the guy who ran the organization really loved jazz, and that was the only reason that I knew the whole business. So I did that, and I just started practicing the Mucusles Diet, man. I read your body is an air gas engine, and that just blew my mind. And I had to know everything that Eric was thinking about, and that's how it started for me.
Okay, Professor. Okay, brother Air. So for people who don't know, but there might be some people who don't know this term mucusless diet. So could you please give us general background and general definition of that?
All right. Well, the mucusless diet is uh, a system. It's called a mucusless diet healing system, and it's a system of transitioning yourself away from what we call mucus and pus, which is animal flesh, dairy, grains, and starches. But you transition through, we do the lemon enemas to cleanse our colon and to just cleanse with. So you transition over years and years. It could take you years and years to transition, but you ultimately want to go to fruits and green leafy plants, ultimately fruit. But that's a whole nother level of blood cleansing. But it takes time and patience. I've been transitioning now for 40 years. So 41 years, I guess, almost 40. So yeah, it just takes time, man. Be patient. I didn't start fasting until I was 25 years into, I mean, like really long fasting, till I was like 25 years into the practice of the Mucusles Diet healing system, right down the middle, just really 101, real basic things, man. I just kept it really basic and followed the transition, and it works. If you want to properly cleanse your blood, because this is what this system is about, reconstructing your bloodstream.
So how do you do that using this mucusless diet healing system?
Well, you get the book, and then you start reading, and you start reading about the transition, and you use your situation wherever you are in life. You start there. You kind of assess and kind of make it to your comfort level. If it's enemas every day, I've been doing a lemon and distilled water enema every day since 1990. So that was my method of, you might do it every other day. You might do it once a week. You might do colonics. Uh,
Along with changing your diet, right?
well, yeah, I mean, but the change, this is not veganism or vegetarianism. This is a system of reconstructing your blood. That's what has to happen with real physical and healthy change. Just, I mean, you ever see vegans and they 200 and 300 pounds and they claim to be healthy. They claim that I'm a vegan, but they're overweight. They look, almost obese because mucus, eating mucus, a lot of rice, a lot of white potatoes, uh, uh, a lot of the soy products. And you can use that stuff on the transition, but keep it in your head that you got to get rid of that. You got to slowly transition away from that. The reason why you don't eat rice, and I mean, like, I've never dealt with the rice or the white potatoes. Well, I did deal with them, but the real reason why you don't eat white potatoes and rice, and most people don't know that. They say, well, it's starch. Yeah, it is that too. But the main reason is they're not sun grown.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you don't deal with
And why is
that.
it important? Why is it important?
Say that again.
Why is it important?
Well, it's important. Have you ever smelled a rotten potato in a bag, a rotten white potato, like in a bag that has rotten, maybe one potato? You ever smelled that?
Yeah, it's very stinky.
Yeah. So imagine that in your body. Imagine that just sitting in your body for months and years, and that residue creates that kind of thing, man. So that's why you don't deal with, if you can. But a lot of vegetarians, as soon as they become vegetarians, they either move to eating the beans or the rice or the white potatoes or the soy products. All that stuff is nothing but mucus. Nothing but mucus. But you can use it to transition away from the away from the stuff if you understand and read the system. You have to get the book. I think the Mucusless Diet Healing System book is the best book ever written about physiology. Bar none. Bar none.
Very good. Very, very good. So if you have a person now who would love to transition to the higher level of the mucusless diet, but they are now eating pretty much standard American diet or vegan diet, but that is not really healthy. So what would you recommend to this person to do?
First, get the book. And
Mm-hmm.
if the book doesn't register with them, if they don't get it, then there's no reason to go on.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get it. I mean, like, when you read it, you gotta kind of like, oh, okay, this is for me.
Yeah.
If that doesn't register, then there's nothing that I can say.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Now, Brother Air, so here is the fasting group. So we have lots of people who have more or less experience in fasting, and this group is dedicated to cultivating the habit of fasting for 24 hours every week. So we do it on a consistent basis, week after week after week, and it's been
Beautiful,
going on for a long time. So,
beautiful.
so tell us a little bit about your fasting history. When was it the first time that you fasted, that you actually consciously abstained from food, and how your fasting progressed throughout the years?
I started in the 80s, fasting 2 or 3 days, just on the transitional diet, Mucusles diet, and I would use juice. And I would do some dry fasting for a couple of days, maybe, or however long I could go. Maybe it might be a day and a half, but I was trying to do that. So that started in the 80s and maintained all through the 90s. I was really into the juice extractor. So I would drink juice from the juice extractor for like 4 weeks, all through that time, especially when I was on the road with bands. I would always take my juicer and a cooler full of vegetables and fruits.
So you would just drink out of juices,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. I would just drink the juicer. Yeah, so I would do that for like 4 weeks, things like that. And then I always tell the story about I stopped juicing when I started a family. Because when I would make my juice, they would all come around. It would be like I'd have my little juice glass that was perfect for me. But now it's like 4 people, it's like 3 other people standing there and they want some. I was like, oh man, So that's why I kind of stopped the juicing, because I started a family. So, but yeah, I did that. And then I did fruit for a year. That's what really kicked off the long fasting, is I did fruit for a whole year.
So just fruit. So throughout the year, you did not eat anything else but fruit.
Nothing but fruit for a whole year. And then coming out of that, I I, I started doing 100-day fast. I did about four or 500-day fasts.
So when you're saying fast, is it on juices or without?
Okay, through with the juicer, and I would the longest I've dry fasted was for 43 days.
Hmm.
So um I would do dry in the middle of that 100. I might do 4 days dry, then start back drinking juice. And I did one of those hundreds where I used a shot glass to put the juice in. So it was only about 2 ounces of juice 3 times a day.
Hmm.
So I did that for 100 days. Just to prove something to me. I was trying to prove something to me,
So what exactly did you want to prove?
that juice and that substance was nothing more than a stimulant. It didn't build anything. It didn't build or add to nutrition or any of that. I don't believe in that. I believe through what I've done over the years, empirical knowledge has told me that the only reason that we eat is to eliminate waste from our bloodstream. That's the only that's the only reason that
Wow.
we
Mhm.
that's
Wow.
all that comes out of that. That's all that comes out of the eating process.
So how does it work? Like a person eats, how does it assist this person in eliminating toxins from the blood?
Well, when I say that, I'm only saying the only thing that is real food is fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Now, the green leafy plants can assist in a broom type of, like a broom type of assistance in terms of sweeping the intestines,
Mm-hmm.
cleaning the, that, but you get no nutrition. I mean, look, I've been it's almost a year now, and I don't look emaciated.
So it's been almost a year since you ate the last time, or is how you really?
Yeah,
So you haven't taken any food for about a year so far.
it'll be in well, this is July now, so July 26th. It'll be a year. So I'm coming off of this fast at Ehret Day, which is July 31st.
Mm. And what about liquids? Have you taken any liquids during this time?
Yeah, the longest I did on this. Now I did something that was quite epic for me this time, was that I did 29 days dry fasting, and I stopped doing my enemas. No water touched my body for 29 days.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take a bath. I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't do enemas, anything for 29 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that just because I've done dry fasting, and then there's people who say, "Well, man, you were doing your enemas, so you were getting dehydrated from your enemas." So I cut out all that just to see what I could, see what would, what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of shut people up where there wasn't nothing they could say, because what really is our food is air and sun,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a transition too.
Right, right. So would you say that all the nutritional knowledge is like bullshit, or
Bullshit. Yeah, bullshit.
yeah? So and it doesn't even depend where the person is in terms of their stage of development,
Um,
or it does depend.
no, it doesn't depend, because you can get on the Mucusles diet and start transitioning. Now, there's just some things that I mean, your transition will be a slow grind. So, it could be like I did a consultation yesterday where this cat was having a problem. He said the only thing he has a problem with is bread, like grains. So we're trying to help him get off of that. And so yeah, I think the nutritional uh, paradigm is, yeah, just straight bullshit. I mean, because I go too long without it. Uh, like I say, I'm almost a year now. I haven't, with just a little pint of juice, and I have not drunk any water.
Mm-hmm. So how would you explain? It's a classical question. How would you explain people who didn't have the access to food, like in certain places in Africa or during the World War II, and they actually did get very, very thin and die. So
Yeah, but they,
how would
but how they, what happened was they drowned. They're drowned in their own mucus.
mm, okay, very
See, that's
interesting.
that's that's the way death occurs. Death occurs even if you're eating 3 meals a day. If you're eating 3 meals a day, and you got a home, and you're getting access to food, and then you want to talk about Africans in Ethiopia, uh, the death occurs the same way with all of us. You dig what I'm saying? So I mean, we need to get out of that. Now, you wouldn't take somebody in that position, in those starving type positions, and not feed them. Be like, no, man, you're gonna be all right. Just keep on hanging in there. No, that's not the way you deal with it. Because what we're talking about is transition.
And lots of cleansing so that you can actually
lots of cleansing. And I was doing 25 lemons, 30 lemons a day. Filling my bag up, my enema bag, my hot water bottle, filling it up with just a little bit of distilled water and all this lemon juice, and just cleansing, man. I was going through 2 and 3 boxes of 165 lemons a week. That was 3.5 years I did that. So the cleansing, my cleansing was on like to the 10th power type of level.
And during this cleanse, have you observed anything that looked like mucoid plaque or things like that?
Man. Oh yeah. That I mean, I was pulling ropes out of my ass that had got stuck in my ass, like ropes this long of mucoid plaque. People actually don't believe that they live with that inside of them, and they're vegans and vegetarians. And then when they do a lemon enema, and I had to get on our group page and tell people to stop sending me pictures of their mucoid plaque. I mean, I was happy that they were doing the lemon enemas, but I had like 100 photos all from all over the world of people's parasites this long that they were getting out with their first or second lemon enema.
And how do you do that?
The lemon enema?
Yeah. I mean, the proportion. Should it be distilled water, and what would be the proportion of the juice, etc.? So just a few technical details.
Yeah. Well, hot water bottle. Are you familiar with the hot water bottle?
Please say it again.
Are you familiar with the hot water bottle?
Hot water.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna grab it real quick.
Okay. Okay, Aranka.
Arik, you gotta love the his background. Clean that ass.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I love him.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, so he's back. Yeah, hot water bottle. Yeah, so I do know.
Okay. So we know what that is. So
right.
What you want to do is get I'd say 4 to 5 lemons. Squeeze them, I guess, through your citrus juicer. You know, just squeeze them.
Yeah.
Get the juice get the juice out and separate the seeds and the pulp, basically.
Yeah, to strain it. Okay.
Yeah, just to strain it. Yeah. Put it in a pot on the stove, little, and always get you a pot just for this. Like this is the only thing that you will deal with in this pot. You know, you won't cook your beans or yeah. Just leave this. This is your enema pot. You know.
Absolutely.
So put that on, heat it up, and put your distilled water in. I would say for 4 or 5 lemons, you might want to go double whatever's in the pot. Just go double with the water.
So it
now,
should be...
I don't use that much water.
Wow, so it should be really concentrated, because I thought you would add just 1 spoon for a liter of water or something like that, but it should be really concentrated.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, because I like it to be potent enough to go up into the intestines and get that real plaquey, sticky mucus off of the intestinal walls. Because let's stop right there, is that people don't understand how sickness happens and disease happens, is that as you grow older and you eat the standard American diet of hamburgers, steak, hot, that whole thing, and as you become 30, 40, 50 years old, you have all this residue on your intestinal wall, right? That's just like, yeah, so you got that resin. Now what starts to happen is that resin over years starts to corrode and recirculate itself back into the bloodstream. So the doctors who don't know nothing, but they take advantage of your insurance, it could be this stuff that's recirculating could get lodged and create an obstruction in your knee or your hip. And so you start complaining about your knee, or you start complaining about your hip, right? And so that's where you see all these knee replacements, hip replacements. That's a $1 billion industry.
Right.
Okay. That's where a lot of that comes from, is that it becomes so painful for people, but the doctors are not breaking it down like I'm telling you how it happens. Sometimes, in most cases, that poison is recirculating itself back into the bloodstream that's been sitting on your intestines, and now it's corroding and it's recirculating itself back into the intestines. And so it creates pain. It can be in your hand, it could be in your neck, wherever it gets lodged at once it does the recirculation. So
amazing.
That's why I like the lemons to be a little potent, so that lemon, that acidity of the lemons can really get that stuff out and move it out.
Amazing. So, okay, Brother Air, so you squeeze this lemon juice, you take certain portion of lemon juice, and you take double portion of water, right?
Yes.
And you put everything in the pot that is specifically designed for that particular purpose.
Yeah, just heat it up. You don't want to boil it, but you do want it to get a good heat. I always call it warm hot instead of warm cold. You know, you want it to be hot enough so it creates that laxative effect, but it can't be too hot that you can't get it up your anal.
Absolutely. So in terms of, in comparison to body temperature, how would you say it should be higher than the body temperature or lower?
We're talking 98.6. It's probably hotter than body temperature. Yeah, it's probably
a little bit hotter. Okay.
Yeah, it's probably hotter than the body temperature because, yeah, I would say a little, but it's just a thing that you just learn how to do. That's why we always tell people to do it every day for 2 weeks, where you can get it under your fingers how to do it, where to hang the bag, how to turn to the left, or, how you gonna do it. It takes a minute, just to figure out how to get this, how to get this stuff up and hold it in. Somebody yesterday was saying, man, I can get it in, but I can't hold it for a long time. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, brother, but before, I want to ask you about holding it and about what you do after you put it in. But which quantities of, which amount of water should you bring in with this kind of enema? I mean, which amount of this solution of water and lemon juice?
Lemon, 4 to 5 lemons, and you can go half and half with the lemon.
Okay.
Yeah, half and half with the distilled water, which isn't a lot in that pot.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I'm just me and Spiro are a little different because he'll say a lot more water, where I really think the potency.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah.
And can you also use these enema that looks like a pear, like this kind of squeezing enema rather than the bag enema?
You talking about like the bulb? Like
Yeah,
I
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
the
Like,
bulb, the bulb. I used the bulb enema on my child 2 weeks after he was born.
mm-hmm,
So for children, yeah,
mm-hmm. But for adults, it is advisable to use a bag. Mm, okay.
yeah.
Okay, good. So then we took all this water in, and how long should we hold it?
As long as you can. I mean, I'm up to 10 minutes. A lot of people can't hold it that long.
Mm,
But you have to keep doing it.
yeah.
You just have to keep doing it, man, and experiment with it and try to figure it out. But a lot of people can't hold it that long. But I say just as long as you got it in there, that's good.
Mm. And should you perform any kind of exercises or movements while holding it?
Well, okay. Before you insert into your anal, rub your abdomen down there for about 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
just real vigorously. Just
Okay.
just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just real vigorously.
Mm-hmm.
And you can. I actually hold mine in my hand when I do it. I don't hang it up like this. Like normally, see that little hole right there? It's like a little clip.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little clip that you hang it up maybe on your shower, and the line runs down. The tube runs down,
Yeah.
and that's where. So, and then you got a clamp on that tube that stops it and starts it. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, all you have to do is put the anal attachment in your behind, and
Mm-hmm.
then just let it run. Now I hold it myself and squeeze it. I like
Ah,
to I like to squeeze it to, and you know what me and Spirit calls it. We call it like trying to create like a power wash.
mm-hmm.
So that's why we hold it. So
Amazing. And when the water is inside of your body, do you perform any kinds of exercises or movements to make it wash?
you can't. Well, this is kind of advanced. I stand on my head, a yoga position.
Mm.
Now that's real advanced, but you can do little to the sides and
Mm-hmm.
hold your, kind of put your hip up in the air, where your back is down on the ground and your hip is up, so everything is coming this way, trying to get more into your upper intestines.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. And then when after, and how do you know when to bring it out? Like when you cannot hold it any longer, or
Oh, you will know.
you will know.
You will know.
You will know. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, you will know.
And would you recommend to do it to do one enema after the other in a row few times, or
I
just?
always tell people to do an enema after you have a natural bowel movement, because I want people to see just what's in you. When you think you've had a natural bowel movement and you think you eliminated, then do an enema after that, and that shows you walking around with all this bowel inside of
Hmm. So you still have lots of stuff even after natural elimination.
you. What did they say? 32 feet of impacted intestines,
Hmm.
and those are vegans and vegetarians.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that a person who has cleaned their body, they still should do enemas on a regular basis, or
What does that mean?
because no, I'm just thinking in if the environment were completely natural, would we still need to clean our intestines this way or not? What do you think?
Man, you're a dreamer, man. You that, that's a that's a dream I can't even imagine, man. You know,
Mm,
if we were in if you said if we were in a natural environment, I mean, if we were, we could say that about a lot of things, man, but that's not the way it is. The way it is, this is our reality.
okay, okay, yeah, I got it, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, brother, we got a question here on the chat. Poggy from England, she's asking if you ever came across urine therapy and what you think about it.
That's okay, urine is what? Waste. So let's call it what it is, waste therapy. That's ludicrous. I mean, people come to me all the time with urine therapy. That's the most, you know, the only way I would drink some urine is if I was stuck in the middle of the desert and shit, you know, like
Mhm.
uh, it's waste. Waste is no good at no point. You can't turn it into something clean. So that's just some psychopathic type of therapy stuff that people have gotten into and tried to rationalize that foolishness. It's nothing but foolishness. Nothing but
Mm,
foolishness.
okay. Okay, brother Air, my next question, in his book, Arnold Ehret gives us a particular formula of life energy. So, it has always been a question mark for me. How does it work and how does it apply to life? So,
Your vitality equals power minus obstruction.
okay, so could you please repeat it so that everyone, because I think it's super important, so that everyone really, really understands it.
Okay. V equals P minus O. V equals P minus O. Vitality equals power minus obstruction. So what that's really dealing with is basically saying the less of obstruction that you have when oxygen is coming into your body and it can flow through your blood, the less obstruction you have, the better vitality you have. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's basically it. It's just basically talking about um, cleanliness, like creating a less obstruction for you want the main thing you want coming through your body is oxygen. That's what you want. The bulk of intake is
Mm.
oxygen. That's life.
Okay. Okay. And tell me, Brother Air, in your case, do you still have to make a particular effort to, for example, to breathe deeper or to get exposed to the sun, as food, as a nourishment? Or you don't think about it at all?
Well, I do think about it in terms of how I'm gonna get sun. I'm in the Midwest of United States. So right now the sun is out pretty, I mean, because it's summertime.
Mhm.
But we go through the seasons,
Yeah.
and so I really take advantage of uh what I've been studying for probably 35 years, uh is the science of breath.
Mhm.
And so imagine, think of a dog and a dog's life, how long a dog lives. 10, years, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so uh they pant at probably about 300 beats a minute. like that kind of thing, you know. So that's about 300 beats a minute. I'm a musician, so I'm talking like, you know, the metronome that we use to keep time in music. So don't mind me. But so think about this, is that if they're living for 10 to 15 years and eating the way that they eat, think about the human body. We breathe about 65 beats a minute. Just the mucus and pus type of individual. About 65 beats a minute. Now, we're living on the average from 50 to 70, right in there. On the average now. So imagine if you could learn how to slow down your intake from 65 beats a minute to 40 beats a minute. Through doing these breath work. If you can do that, you automatically extend your life.
Amazing. And should it be deep breath or deep breathing or shallow breathing?
Well, it depends on techniques. Like I use a technique that I really do a lot, and it's called under the tongue breathing. Basically, take the inhale, deep inhale, kind of very slow. Very, very slow inhale. Hold it, but stick your stomach out. Hold that 3 seconds, and then exhale, very slow. Under your tongue. And sit with that for, I mean, I've been able to sit as long as 3 hours doing it. You know, just concentrating on that. But a lot of people don't have that kind of time, you know, but, you know, I got that kind of time because this is all I do is this, you know. So my aim is to slow my breathing and just being conscious about my breathing. So I mean, as I'm talking to you, I'm very conscious about not hey, what's up? You know, I'm trying to, you know, keep things real even. And so it's a consciousness that you have to think about it. And when you can catch yourself, do it. You know, the more you just concentrate on it, when you can catch yourself, you might do it for 30 seconds through the day, or however you can catch yourself. But you know, but that's how you know, when people say they're looking for the fountain of youth, that's how it works, man. If you can take in breath, less breath, you know, like if you're doing 60, if you're breathing at 60 beats, if you can go to 40, you automatically extend your life.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. Okay, guys, so let's, do you have any questions so far? Do you have any questions for Brother Air? If not, I still have quite a lot, but.
I do, may I? Hi, Brother Air, this is Aranka, a longtime follower of yours. Can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you and see you. What's going on?
I love your work. I love what you do for people and help everyone with your help and advice. But I'm curious, are you still eating those nice salads, the cabbage raisin?
Well,
salads?
when I eat, when I eat, yeah. We actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because we just had a meeting with, what was it, Wednesday? Yeah, it might have been yesterday. But they were asking me about making the Brother Air salad at the Ehret Day. So how much the question was I thought I was gonna make maybe 2 platters of it, 2 little foil. But they wanted 4. So yeah, that's gonna be at every day. So when I eat it not
Once a week?
no, because I don't make it. I might have eaten it. I've made that salad for events more than I've eaten it.
Oh, wow.
Because most of the time I'm fasting. So for the events, I just make them. Uh, I did the last time I was over a year ago, I did make a bowl of it for myself. So no, I don't eat it all the time because I just don't eat it all the time, but I love it. When I do make it, I try to make enough that I think it's gonna last me 2 or 3 days, and I can't even get through the day. It's gone. Like so. So
So
that's
a related question to this is, you don't miss chewing?
miss chewing. It's funny. Okay, check this out. This is funny. Uh, I did a 9-month fast, and I decided I was gonna come off on the Brother Air salad.
Oh, wow.
So I did that. The first thing I ate was Brother Air salad. Man, I'm coming off. Coming off. And, okay, I'm making the salad. So now I'm eating it. So I'm eating it and I'm enjoying it. It's a broom salad, so it's making me go to the bathroom.
Yes, yes.
So then that next day, my jaws is as tight as I could ever. I mean, I was like, man, what is going on, man? I couldn't even move my mouth hardly. It
Wow.
was so sore for 2 or 3 days. I mean, I was really panicking. And then I thought about it. I was like, damn, it was that like chewing.
Right.
So I always tell people, I said, don't ever come off of a long fast like that with the Brother Air salad. Don't do that. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the only thing I've ever related to chewing, uh, but no, I mean, once I'm eating, it's cool. It's a great salad, and I'm actually thinking about with the one I'm gonna make for the air day. I'm actually thinking about one more ingredients with the sun sun baked. What is it?
Sun-dried tomatoes?
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about putting them in there. Try that out.
Okay, brother Air, I wanted to ask you about sleep. So because I think that you mentioned that once you stop eating, you don't need to sleep much. So how's it going right now in your life? All these sleeping issues.
Same. I mean, about an hour a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about an hour a day. Real choppy. Uh, yeah.
And
I have
you don't feel tiredness or lack of energy throughout your day or something like that.
no. When I'm feeling like I want to sleep, and I'm not even talking about that REM sleep. I'm just talking about laying down. I look up. I might nod off for what I think is an hour or two, and I look at the clock, and it's probably 15 minutes.
Mm. Okay, and in terms of your energy levels throughout your fasting days or dry fasting days, do you feel any loss of energy or concentration or whatever during this time?
I feel a gain of concentration and what we call energy. When I
Mm.
start back eating, I feel like I done lost all my vitality.
Okay, okay. And has it always been like that with fasting, that you felt more energy while fasting, or in the beginning it was a vice versa?
No, it was like that. It's always been like that, man. I mean, that's why I do it so much.
Mm.
You know, that's why I fast more than I eat.
Right, 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 right. So,
So I might average 2 months a year eating.
mm. And when you say that you are not eating, does it mean that you actually drink juices throughout the rest of the time, like other than just dry fasting? Because you mentioned those periods of dry fasting, but
Yeah, dry. Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of dry fasting, and then on those days I drink juice.
mhm. And how much juice do you usually drink on your drinking days?
On my drinking days, maybe a half gallon. Not
Hmm.
well, no, a half. I was thinking of a half gallon in my head, but I was thinking about half of a half gallon,
Ah, okay. So a quarter of a gallon, more or less.
something like that, maybe.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Little more sometimes. If I've been out all day playing music and I'll get home, 1 in the morning, pretty, and I might, drink. And so,
Yeah, yeah. So a quarter of a gallon, just for our European listeners, it's about 1 liter.
yeah,
1 liter
yeah,
of water. Okay.
yeah, on and off, yeah.
And what are your favorite juices?
Pineapple.
Would you say it's one of the most cleansing juices, the pineapple juice?
It's one of the juices that I never get tired of drinking.
Mm,
Some juice I remember in the past, I used to just get tired of drinking certain juices after a couple of years, and then all of a sudden one day they just taste bad.
mm,
But with the pineapple, I've been drinking that since the 90s, and it always tastes good.
mm. I understand. Now, okay, guys. So, does anyone have any more questions before I proceed with mine?
Can I ask something? Can you hear me? Is that okay? I don't know. It's amazing stuff. I don't even know where to start. Like you were saying with the enemas, that you still need after 40 years of living such life, fasting and juice, drinking fruit juices. You still, I mean, there's still. Are we that full of, well,
Well,
full of.
yeah, I understand what you're asking. Think about your ancestors. That's what you're dealing with is your blood. We're not dealing with the body no more. We're dealing with the blood now. And we're
Okay.
talking about you might be, I don't know if you are or not, but you might be the first vegan or vegetarian in your bloodline for 1,000 years.
Oh, you mean genetic? I mean, we
However,
already.
however you want to frame it. I'm just saying you're the question that you was asking me was like, wow, after 40 years, you still think that you should be cleansing like that. But we're not dealing with my body. We're dealing with the body that came out of my mother. You dig what I'm saying? So we're dealing with her bloodline. We're dealing with her mother's bloodline, her father's bloodline.
So it's a matter of thousands of years. People have been eating meat and dairy products and grains, and
that's why it's so hard for us to get off of eating mucus and pus, because we have that craving. A lot of people can stop eating meat. They say, okay, I'm gonna stop eating meat, and then they stop eating meat, but they have that craving for mucus, which is beans or rice or white potatoes. Why? If you know that the best stuff that you can eat is fruit, why is it that you can't maintain that diet physiologically? Because the bloodstream is so filthy, and we're talking about thousands of years of bloodstream. So this is what we're trying to overcome. So don't believe 40 years is nothing of trying to do. It might take us 300 years. You know what I mean? To get to somebody who can get over the hump and can literally stop eating.
But could you, theoretically, can we stop eating? Because like animals eat. So what we supposed
Look,
cool stop eating?
I go long periods of time without eating, and I love it. My aim right now, my goal is to stop eating, and I'm going to do that in my lifetime, I believe.
Wow, it sounds, because animals, animals don't have cravings for starchy food, for cooked food.
Okay, let's talk about animals.
Okay.
Let's get into some real heavy discussion about the undeveloped people. See, now we can understand when I say that, now we can understand what we're dealing with and what has happened. It's like having it's like having somebody in your family who was slow. As we used to use that term, retarded. You remember before that term became, so we'd have somebody in the family that would be retarded. We know they were a little slow. So, okay, now think of the animals as being a little slow. The problem is in your family, that family member that is a little slow, you don't eat them. Right? You don't eat the family member.
No.
But we eat the animals.
That's right.
They are undeveloped humans who started eating mucus and pus. Look at a dog. Look at a dog's eyes. That look just like yours. They defecate, they urinate. They have babies. They have mamas and daddies. That's too close to your life to think that this isn't you. They ate themselves there.
No, I wasn't following. Who ate who? Humans eat
animals.
Animals.
Animals are undeveloped humans.
Okay, we eat. Not us specifically. We eat. People eat animals. But animals also eat animals. So you mean?
We're talking before that. How did an animal? Okay, if I ask you, where do animals come from? Yeah, exactly. Nobody ever have an answer for that. So you see, we got to start answering questions that we can come up with some kind of rational type of understanding about what we're doing and why we're doing it. Undeveloped people. When I say that, listen to what I'm saying. Undeveloped people. These were people at one time.
The animals.
The animals.
Okay.
And what did they do? They ate themselves there. That's how deadly mucus and pus is. So there was, imagine 100,000 years ago, 200,000 years ago, the human body was more sensitive than me and your body. So think about a human who had such a sensitive body, who was living on sun and air and maybe fruit, if that. We're talking about the original breatharian.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with this prehistory.
You're not going to be familiar with it because this is not what's taught in books. You got to get this by being empty. The knowledge of the universe will fill you up when you're empty. If you want this knowledge.
Yeah, I understand. When you clean yourself, I mean, your intuition is better. You all of a sudden you have insights. I mean, and I haven't done that many days of dry fast, like 50 days or
Yeah.
even the little I did, even just being raw vegan, it cleanses your system. And yes, it is amazing because we people, you spoke about yourself, when you were younger, we consume so many toxins. It's amazing we're still alive, we're still functioning. I mean, people that eat the standard American diet, smoke, drink, take medications. It's a miracle.
It's amazing. I mean, the body is an amazing machine.
That's right. With all these toxins.
It's an amazing machine. And think of how amazing it could be if we knew how to treat it.
That's right. The potential. It sounds like an enormous potential.
It's the potential that we lost.
And we can regain it.
Exactly. But now you got to do the work.
That's right. The enemas, I mean, when you were saying that things keep coming out. So it's amazing how much toxins we have inside, and we're still.
Think of your ancestors. You are mirroring your grandparents and your great grandparents. That's the bloodstream that you're dealing with.
Okay, so we're inheriting all these toxins. We're born with all these toxins before we.
Where you think you get those cravings from?
We were born with it already. The need, yeah. But thinking back, how I grew up and how everybody eats. I mean, it's unnatural. Cooking and first course, second course,
so
3
we
meals.
We don't know none of that. My mother, and my great grandmother and grandmother, they didn't know none of that. They didn't have access to none of that. Even though Arnold Ehret had a sanitarium in the 1920s here in America, where people like Albert Einstein used to come. So, but me as a black man, and it wasn't no black folks there. You can believe that. There's no black folks here about Arnold Ehret's sanitarium, or probably couldn't afford it in the early 1900s.
Very interesting. Brother Air, we've got a question on our chat on WhatsApp in the group. Someone is asking, actually it's from another group, but it doesn't matter. Someone is asking if you have healed any physical conditions using this fasting and healing foods lifestyle of your own.
No, but I've created some that have, because because some people get into things like this, certain modalities, because they are ill. I didn't get into this because I was ill. I got into it because it made sense to me. And I just always knew from that Dick Gregory lecture when I was 15 that maybe vegetarianism, it made sense to me. So that was kind of how I got into it. But getting into this kind of living can bring on things that, I guess the best way to describe it is like the collateral damage that you did before you got into this. It's like you did 20, 30, 40, 50 years of just treating yourself like a trash receptacle. There's gonna be some collateral damage.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you witnessed, from your own experience, from the people you worked with, have you witnessed any miraculous healing stories of people?
Yeah, man. I mean, people have I mean, Spira, my partner, he was almost 300 pounds when I met him. He was 19, studying jazz trombone at the Conservatory of Cincinnati. And he was sleeping with a CPAP every night, taking all kind of medication. And yeah, man, I mean, it was, you go over to mucusfreelife.com and look at the pictures of Spira before and after. And I mean, he was up to 300 pounds, and
Mm.
just sick as a dog, man. Just always sick, always on medication, sleeping with a CPAP, So I mean, that's
Yeah,
just so.
amazing,
There's
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, and brother Eric, you also mentioned the different spiritual experiences, such as deep insight into the nature of things that you get on this lifestyle when you are actually empty and clean. So, could you please elaborate more on the connection between this kind of lifestyle and spiritual development?
Well, spiritual development is very subjective, in terms
Mhm.
of that. But along with this kind of introspection of finding your personal deity, because my thing is, I never talk about religion or God or anything like that. It doesn't need anybody else's validation what I believe in. You dig? So what I always say, how they say, well, you can't judge people. Well, yeah, that's the only way you can, is judging people. That's the only way you're gonna learn about somebody. You gotta hang out with them. You gotta see what kind of person they are.
Mhm.
You gotta judge whether or not you want this person to be a babysitter, or what I mean. So when they say don't judge, I'd be like, please, that's all you got.
Okay.
It's the judge, so um so yeah, man, I just, I my thing is, you can look at my works, and that's how you will deal with me. Like if we was hanging out, you can just see what kind of person I am.
Mhm.
And then that will let you know if I was somebody that you would want to be around. So I don't have to be talking about I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim or I'm a Buddhist or all that. That has nothing to do with anything. You can say whatever you want to say you are. That don't mean anything. It's your actions.
Absolutely. No, when I asked this question, I meant more of the on the deeper inner level, on the level of insights into the nature of
I
the
I
universe.
I understand that, but that's a very subjective subject to talk about when you know what I mean, because it's kind of like whatever you feel is the deity that you kind of look at as something that you're plugging into. I can't describe to you what I'm plugging into, where I get the self motivation from. I can't describe that to you, but I
Mm,
know it's there.
okay.
I know I'm feeling something that pushes me, that makes me happy to do this, to be a part of this life.
Mhm. Yeah,
You
very
know,
interesting, very amazing. And another question, as a former, many years ago, drug user, what do you think about drugs and similar substances? Because some people do advocate it, that to gain insights, you need to take psychedelics or you can experiment with that. So, what's your take on it right now after so many years on this kind of lifestyle?
well, I'm not a drug advocate on no level. No weed. I always tell the weed smokers, because I get a lot of people who smoke weed. I'll be like, why don't you put it over your salad? They just look at me, they be like, man, good weed, you know. I be like, okay, well, that's my suggestion. But the drug thing, man, is my thing is, why not take life at its own speed? Why slow it down or speed it up? I think that's the difference between being grown up, you know, because we dealing with grown up stuff.
Right, right.
So when you grown up, you deal with life at its own speed. You don't have to speed it up or slow it down. Only when you don't want to deal with who you are, you start doing that. So, you know, don't let nobody rationalize that to you. It's fine if you do it. I mean, I'm not gonna dislike you any more or any less, but that's not, it's a substance. Now you got to clean that out your system. It's just more crap. It's more crap, you know.
Yeah. And how would you go about that? Because probably in your vicinity or every now and then you get in touch with people who are on drugs. So how do you go about it? Do you go also the same way, like getting rid of mucus forming foods, stuff like that, or?
Get the book. Get the book. It starts there. Because this isn't the Brother Air system. This is Arnold Erik's Mucusless Diet healing system. And I just think it's the best modality out there because it's complete and it's a system and it's logical and you can make it to fit your physiology. And it works, you know, and it works, you know. So it starts with getting the book and getting it. First, you got to get it like, oh, okay, this makes sense to me. Let me try this, you know.
Yeah. Okay, guys, do you have any more questions?
Yes, I'd like specifically, what do you recommend? I mean, in terms of vegetables, is that okay? And supplements, what about B12?
No. No B12.
Okay.
See, we need to understand, and we really need to do our homework about where these theories come from, those who came up with the theories.
Okay, that's interesting. How did it all?
Okay. Francois Magende. Okay, the vitamin theory. Let's just take that since you mentioned B12. How the vitamin theory was developed. Just how they put this in the book and said this is concrete. Okay, he was on a boat and all the people on the boat got sick. Basically, you know, caught a flu or something, and they were just whatever they wanted. It's just, you know, I don't think in terms of diseases. I think in terms of elimination, because it all is about elimination. And elimination can be a good thing. But all these people were on a boat and they got sick and the crew got sick. So what he did was that he took some rice and kind of melted it down into a syringe and started shooting up his patients. Basically, his idea was to stimulate them, which it did. And they were all right after that. So what he did, he wrote in his journal, the serum that I created out of rice vitalized the men. That's where the word vitamin comes from.
Okay.
Simple as that. I mean, and that's what we done took on as a whole theory of life, that we take supplements off of just that paragraph.
And vitamin D and all that also. Well, vitamin C, you can get it by a lot of fruit and vegetables have vitamin C, but vitamin D.
Does it? What comes from the sun? Was it vitamin D? Vitamin E?
Vitamin D.
Okay, so vitamin D, how can you take the sun and bottle it? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, excuse my language. That's just ludicrous. That's ludicrous. There's no such thing as no vitamin. That's about getting your money.
Okay.
No such thing as no vitamins. It's all a hustle. It's all a hustle. There's no such thing as no vitamin. Vitamin what? Vitamin E, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin B, vitamin B12, vitamin, man, they'll come up with all kind of things to get your money. And that's exactly what they do. You're talking about $1 billion industry.
That's right. Yeah, I know. Not to mention all medications that do more harm than good. I mean,
well, that's a whole nother psychopathic type of thing. Like deal with the hospitals and Western medicine. The one thing that they do well is trauma. So if I'm having a stroke, take my ass to them. If I'm going through a heart attack, take my ass to them. That's what they do very well, is trauma. But chronic illness, they have no clue.
okay. That's because of the toxins that we have to.
It's just because of profound. It's because of profound ignorance and profound greed of making money. Keep the patients docile and stupid. So, we can cut it off of you. We can inject you. We can keep you medicated. That's what they do. They don't heal anything.
It's an industry just to make money.
It's an industry, and I'm saying it's a good industry if you keep it at the level that it should be at, and that's trauma. If you're in a car accident, you're bleeding profusely, that's what they do good. If you're bleeding internally, they got that. They're masters at that. But chronic illness, they have no clue.
It's just about detoxing all these.
Well, I mean, you know what this really is about? It's about controlling what you're putting in your mouth.
That's right. So do you have any practical, like fruit? Of course, fruit is good, but fruits are good. But vegetables, what do you say about not cooked vegetables, but live vegetables?
Cooked vegetables are good. I don't know what people got against cooking vegetables. I mean, what is that about? I mean, some spinach or a little broccoli and zucchini. And I mean, what is this cooked stuff about? I mean, I hear the people who are just raw vegans, and they're not even raw. They're not even raw vegans. Oh, I'm raw. I'm raw. And I say, okay, so what do you eat? Well, I eat nuts and soaked cashews and seeds. That's not raw. Raw is this: fruits and green leafy plants. That's raw.
Also, vegetables.
Don't talk about seeds. Don't talk about nuts. Don't talk about legumes. Don't talk about none of that. You're not going to find too many of those raw that don't use dehydrate. Well, I use the dehydrator. Well, that's heat. So don't, cook foods, man. What are you afraid of cook foods for?
Because it's got no nutrients. I mean, it's dead. It's
oh man, yeah.
No vitamins, no vitamins.
Oh man, we have to get her off the screen, man. She's not one of us, man.
Well, what's wrong with live vegetables, cucumbers, carrots?
Nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that a little some cooked vegetables. There's nothing wrong with cooking spinach or collard greens or cabbage. There's nothing wrong with cook.
As long as it's not, yeah, okay, not beans, starch or legume. That's what.
I mean, but that's still. I mean, even the starch and the grains are still on the transitional diet because this is about transition. Stop trying to jump where you think you should go the first day of a diet.
But what is eventually what do you suppose? Nothing. Eventually.
Well, I mean, that's a personal thing, but you want to ultimately become a fruitarian. That's ultimately what, if you want to eat, that's the only, fruit is the only perfect food. Fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only real food.
Not even greens.
No. Greens are used to kind of use as a broom for the intestine. It helps move things along. But fruit is the only real food.
Just like the big apes, chimpanzees and gorillas.
They eat the bananas, and yeah, they big and strong like a mug, you know. So yeah.
Do they take supplements? Vitamins?
I doubt it. I doubt it. But yeah, we need to get out of that vitamin foolish because it's very expensive.
Yeah, that's what the SAD diet. You're supposed to eat proteins and sugars and all. And all that.
How do I look? How do I look after almost 12 months now of no solid food, just low pineapple juice?
You look great. You don't look your age.
Got my hair. You know what they say. You're supposed to use certain things for calcium with your bones and
gelatin. No, you don't take supplements.
Yeah, all that is just about getting your money, man. But you know what this thing is about, and those who can master themselves are the ones who can do with the least. That's what all this is about.
Could you please repeat it? Could you please repeat what you have just said?
The least.
What I was saying was that when those, and this is, I think, what a lot of us are trying to do, we're trying to master ourselves.
That's right.
And so in the journey of mastering yourself, it really, the end result of that is those who can do with the least. Those are the real leaders.
Right, right.
You mean least?
Least, yeah, the least.
Okay.
Yeah, the lowest amount, the least of, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Those are the real leaders. Those are the ones you want to deal with. You want to look at them and see where they're going. You want to kind of follow what they're talking about, or see, you know, they don't need somebody opening the door for them. You know, they don't need to be in a chauffeur-driven limousine. You know what I mean? They don't. You know, they deal with the least. You know, so
exactly.
And that's what the quest is to master ourselves. And I think that understanding physiology is a part of that.
That's right. Now, brother, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, what's your name?
Revital. Revital. Revital.
Revital?
Revital.
All right, I'll remember you. Come over to Mucus Free Life and check us out.
Okay, so where do I look? What do I look for?
Just put in the search engine mucusfreelife.com.
Okay, thank you.
You
Yeah,
can find us.
and Brother Air, we are going to put this link below this video once it's uploaded on YouTube, so
Oh,
people
okay,
will find
okay.
it. Now,
Thank you.
yeah. Now tell me, lots of people ask about emotional cravings towards food, food cravings. It might appear during transitioning. For example, person wants to eat more raw foods, and then they have these cravings for rice and for starchy food, or during fasting they really feel those cravings. So how to deal with them?
The enemas. The
Mm,
enemas work like this, is that when what you're describing is a physiological happening in the body. So when you say, yeah, I really have a craving for rice, or I really have a craving for white potatoes or some bread, that's really physiological. That's a craving for poison.
mm,
So the daily enemas or regular enemas help to decrease that craving. It might take a year, it might take 3 years, but sooner or later, when you keep clean, see, because with doing the enemas, you're not letting that stuff sit there.
mm.
You keeping it moving. So years look by, and I'm telling you, I went through a period. This was almost 20 years into the Mucusles Diet, maybe 17 years into the Mucusles Diet, and I got a craving for toast, fruit spread jelly, and peanuts. Peanut butter. You know, just
Wow.
100% peanut butter. That lasted for 3 years, 3 or 4 years. At the end of the day, I can be mucusless all day, man. Do good, do my enema. But man, I was gigging all the time, man. I'd come in 1, 2 in the morning, and I had to have that. The toast, you know, on one piece of sliced bread and the jelly and the peanut butter on that. And I would eat 3 or 4 of those.
Mhm.
And I did that for 3 to 4 years.
Okay, very interesting. And then what did you do to get rid of it?
I kept doing the enemas. The next thing I know, I never had that craving again.
Ah, okay. So you kept doing the enemas, and then at some point you just felt that you don't need it anymore?
I didn't even think about it. You just notice that you don't even, it just goes away. It's like you're
Mm,
not even thinking about it anymore. It just goes away. Those
mm,
cravings, because what you were craving was the poison in your bloodstream.
mm.
So you use whatever you need to do to deal with that craving, which in my case was the toast, peanut butter, and jelly.
Yeah, yeah. But at some point you found yourself satisfying your craving, like you did eat those things,
Well,
even after.
I've said that this is about transition.
Mm,
I've been on the transition now for 40 years. I'm still not off the transition.
mhm. Okay.
And when I say transition, I'm talking about just like reading the book for the first time. I'm still dealing with a basic transition. No matter, oh, brother, you do all this fasting and you're so advanced. Look, I deal with a basic transitional diet still.
Wow. Yeah, that's a very interesting mindset, after 40 years to consider yourself kind of still in the beginning,
In the beginning, because we have such a long line of bloodstream to work through.
Ah,
I might have been the first vegetarian in 5,000 years in my bloodline.
Yeah. And I'm just curious, Brother Air, do you still see things coming out of you while doing enemas, or it's
Oh
almost?
yeah, I just seen a parasite. I actually sent it to Sister Decor. She put it on. I sent it through the phone, but I just see a parasite about I guess it's about 2 months ago. It was
Mhm.
about that long.
Wow.
So, and I had stopped. I had not eaten in about 9 months at that point.
Mm, amazing. Very, very interesting. Guys, do you have any more questions? It's been almost 2 hours. We will wrap it up soon, but maybe someone else has any more questions. Yeah. Okay, Brother Air, so please tell us how to, if anyone wants to be in touch with you, to ask more questions or to follow you, what would be the best way to do that?
Well, I think it's mucusfreelife.com. Yeah, mucusfreelife.com. I'm on Facebook under Willie Smart Jr. That's
Mhm.
the only social media I do.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the only. I don't do Instagram and all that. I leave
yeah.
all that stuff to Spirit. He kind of has all these sites with my name on it, which I
Mm.
know exist, but I seldom go to them.
Yeah, and if a person goes on this site, mucusfreelife.com, could you please tell us about it? What can they find there? And
Well, they can find everything. The videos on YouTube. They can find the books. They can find all the books.
Mhm.
They can find all the backstories on us, our biographies. I mean, just everything. It's everything.
Mm.
You can get.
Okay, and tell me, and what is the difference between the original Arnold Ehret's books that is actually available online for free, like in a PDF format,
Yeah.
and the book that you published?
Well, it's annotated. It's annotated, and everybody's saying it's a lot better because we're adding stuff that we came to the table about the lemon enemas, and it's a nicer book. I mean, it's just a. I mean, it is the same book. We made sure that we didn't want to mess with anything, but we
Yeah,
annotated it and added. And the only way that we could add is that we had to have time spent of doing things. So we knew exactly, Spirit knew exactly what to add. And everybody loves it. Everybody loves that book, man. I mean, literally people who've had the book since the 60s couldn't wait to get this book because it's better. It's just way better, because
mm.
it's more stuff. It's more stuff that relates to 2021.
Ah, okay. So I just want to make it clear. So it does contain the full text of the original book,
It doesn't
but
get touched.
but
Yeah,
but in,
that
in
full
addition,
text does not get touched at all. It's
yeah,
perfectly in there.
but in
Yeah.
addition to that, it also contains comments and the ways to apply it.
Yeah, all kind of different commentary on different things, explaining Eric a little bit deeper. Because a lot of people was like, what is this? Or what, it just, but now we break it down. We really break everything down, how transition works, and it's just a great book, man. I'm real proud of Spirit, man. What
Ah,
he
but
did.
yeah. So please tell us about this Spiro, because for many people it's just some kind of a strange name. Who's this guy?
Well, aka Mike Goki is his real name when I met him. Musician out of Cincinnati, trombone major, jazz trombone major. I met him, he was 19. And I mean, that's been almost like 2001. I probably met him maybe 2001 or 2002. So we've been like brothers ever since, man. So
Mm,
he's been practicing for about 18, 19 years now.
Yeah. Okay. And he's basically the leading person in the world for the mucusless diet, pretty
He's
much.
the face. He's the face of the Mucusles Diet right now. He's the man. Yeah, he's the
Okay.
man.
Very
I'm
interesting.
kind of I'm kind of like on I always say he put me on his back and taking me over the goal line with it, you know.
Okay. Okay. And when you edited this original Ehret's book, so did you also participate in writing the comments and extending about
No,
things?
no, I mean it it comes through years and years of conversating with me. So
Ah,
you'll see a lot of my thought in there, but not like that, not like I sat and okay, put this in and put it just
ah,
comes from him being around me for that long that that stuff is just gonna come out.
mhm.
Our philosophies are just gonna come out.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I got.
we don't really claim to it like, oh, that's something I said or that's something he said or what. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah, I got
it's
it. I
it's
got
kind
it.
of like that.
Mhm. Yeah, we've just got another question here on the chat. As you go along in the transition, do you permanently remove more and more foods? That's the question.
Did did they
Yeah,
say?
I'll read it again. As you go along with your transition, do you permanently remove more and more foods?
When I don't understand when they say remove
No, no,
or
because you said that your goal is to live completely food free.
okay, yeah. That I mean when I say stop eating, that's what I mean. I'm just gonna stop. But when
Mhm.
I'm eating, when I'm back eating, I still eat what I eat. Like salads, collard greens. I'm a big Brussels sprout and broccoli type of person. Salads for days, plenty of fruit,
Yeah.
uh, uh, things like that. Cauliflower,
Mm.
uh,
And do you eat it?
acorn, acorn squash. I really like acorn squash.
Mm.
So
And
that's something.
do you eat them raw, by the way, or you cook them?
No, 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 no. I cook them.
Okay, like steam, or you actually boil them in the water, or how do you cook?
No, I might stir fry like the acorn squash with a little sauteed like onion type of bell pepper thing, and stir fry under a covered pan,
Uh-huh.
that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Uh I might roast uh some uh some Brussels sprouts with little herbs sprinkled on them, maybe, you
Mm.
know, uh something like that. So
Yeah.
like when you eat broccoli, you have to cook that a little bit
Hmm.
because it's just so gassy. You don't want to eat that stuff raw. It's a lot of vegetables you don't want to eat raw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cabbage, you don't want to eat cabbage raw.
Yeah. And what's the reason that you are still eating it and that you are not like 100% fruitarian yet? Like, is it your personal choice, or you don't feel like it for now?
Well, it is. I mean, I have days where I do like 3 or 4 days of just fruit, and then I'll feel like my physiology is telling me I have the craving for some Brussels sprouts,
Mm.
and then I'll eat them.
Yeah.
But
So you.
I keep doing the enema.
Mm.
So sooner or later, I'm gonna get there.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Very interesting. Any more questions, guys? Okay, cool. So I think we're gonna. Okay. And last question, or maybe one of them. Maybe we'll have some more. When you had these long dry fasting periods, Did you still have any urination or any bowel movements during that time?
Yeah, I did. Urination, uh, about 2 weeks in, I had some urination.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 weeks into that 29 days, I had urination. And about 3.5 weeks, I had uh, a bowel movement that, I had to tell you about that on another day, boy. That was something else. So that
Like
was,
like like
that was
lots of interesting stuff came out.
yeah, that was a whole nother kind of thing. So and what happens is the cells, when you dry fasting like that, you're dealing with your cells now and oxygen flowing through. So now you're squeezing everything out of the cells, you know.
Mhm.
So and that oxygen, uh that resin from that water in the air,
Mm,
H2O.
okay.
So, you urinating a little bit, It's not a long
Yeah.
urination, but it was a urination, It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I understand. Wow, very, very interesting. And tell me, brother Air, so because you used drugs in the past, so during your cleansing process, when the drugs came out of the cells and they were released into the blood, did you feel any secondary effects, like as if you were on trip or something like that?
yeah, yeah.
Phenomena like that.
Back in the 80s, like 10 years afterwards, when I was cleansing, and I started the everyday enema in 1990. So I would do enemas, but not every day.
Mhm.
But I would smell cocaine,
Wow.
like really, especially freebase, like the ether. I used the
Mm.
ether when I would freebase.
Yeah.
I didn't use the baking soda and all that stuff. I used the ether. So I
Mhm.
would smell that sometimes, really intense,
Wow.
really intense. So through the 90s, that kind of dissipated, and that was pretty much
Okay.
it. Yeah.
And how long has it been so far that you are completely drug free?
Oh man, since 1982.
Wow. Well done. And prior to that, how long were you taking drugs?
I guess I was about 9 years old. I was smoking weed, and
Ah,
drinking
wow.
and
Wow.
drinking and stuff. I was 12 and 13, sneaking a drink and stuff like that.
Amazing. And since 1982, no weed, nothing, like no drugs at all. No smoke, no regular cigarettes even.
I never smoked cigarettes.
Ah, okay, okay. Well done. Yeah, I'm asking because we don't have many speakers here with a drug experience like you, and it might be relevant for people. So yeah, so
Yeah,
so it is an important subject.
yeah. So it's like I said, 1982 is last time I went to a restaurant.
Mm,
I haven't eaten at a restaurant since 1982.
wow,
My son is 26. He's never been to a restaurant.
really? Does he also follow Mucusless diet?
Yes,
Really?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Like following it strictly without moving
Well, I
right.
mean, okay, I'll tell you what he's eating right now. His one of his main meals is pasta.
Okay.
So that's about the worst that he mucus.
Uh-huh.
That's his thing. But on his pasta, it's a big old salad over top of that. So that's his way of justifying the pasta. It's the big salad.
Ah, okay.
So he might
Okay.
he might eat some. It's something I've been seeing. Uh, some some things that he's had some little chips. They're called bear. and they're like dried. I don't know what they are. If they're oven baked, but I looked on the bag and it says just the ingredients of apple. Just says apple.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's been snacking on them for the last couple of months. I see a lot of bags around the house. So
Okay.
so yeah, he drinks exclusive pineapple juice. He started digging the pineapple juice. I used to have my own juice, which was pineapple. He used to have his. And then he tasted it one day. And now when I go buy pineapple juice, I have to buy enough for both of us. So
Okay. Okay. And what do you buy it pasteurized? Like, what do you think about drinking pasteurized juices?
I don't have a problem with it. I I do drink a lot of like with the juicer,
Yeah.
but I will go to Trader Joe's. They got a pretty decent non-pasteurized. It just says pineapples on it,
Yeah.
and I will buy that. Not from concentrate, and
Yeah.
I will buy that sometime. And I
Mm.
always will take 2 organic oranges and a lemon and put it inside that bottle. I just call it like I'm activating something. you
Okay. Very good. Very good. Very
know,
good.
yeah.
Yeah. And tell me, brother Air, so how do you spend your time? Because you almost don't sleep. When was it the last time that you slept more than, let's say, 3 hours during the night?
Oh man, that had to be in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
So you have so much free time. So how do you
Yeah.
spend it? How do you spend all this free time? What are you
Studying,
doing?
studying and coming up with ideas about the undeveloped people. Yeah, a lot of time on my hands, man. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
your mind can wander, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Many people would love to have it, People are always complaining, they don't have time, they don't have time for learning
Yeah,
languages, they don't have time for this, they don't have time for that.
yeah. And I'm a jazz musician, so playing jazz and studying, playing with my band and
Amazing.
traveling
Amazing.
and doing that. We're getting back to traveling now since the COVID foolishness is over and
Right, right, right.
are almost over in our area, So
Hmm.
we're getting back to traveling again. So
Amazing. I'm really, really happy for you.
thank you.
Okay, okay, brother Air. So we'll put all the links below the video. And
Thank
thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this very valuable information.
thank you, man.
Yeah,
How do you pronounce your name?
I pronounce my name Arik, Arik.
Arik?
Yeah, yeah, it's an Israeli name. I'm from Israel.
Yeah, okay. Arik.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
Arik,
But
let me know anytime, man. This was a pleasure, man. I'll do it anytime you need me. All you gotta do is call me and let me know, man. I'll come on anytime.
thank you so much. We would also love, of course, we would love to have you again, but also if Professor Spira would love to come and speak, then of course
Yeah, I,
we
I
would.
was gonna surprise you with him today, and then he was doing something after I got because he had to stay on that consultation that I was on before this. So
Uh,
if he wouldn't, I would have brought him along with me. He would have done it. He's
yeah, yeah,
he's a good guy, man.
yeah. We'll contact him for another talk. But
Yeah,
thank you so much. If there is anything we could do for you, just let me know.
yeah, man. Just go to mucusfreelife.com and become a part of the community. We have a Wednesday meetup on Zoom, and you can call in, and that it starts at 8 p.m. on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and
Mhm.
sometimes that thing goes to 10 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, wow. Do you have all the information about that on the site?
Yeah, everything will tell you about the meetup, and it's real cool. You know, all the practitioners are on it, and everybody's just talking about their transition and their lemon
Yeah.
enemas, and it's real cool that way, man.
Yeah. By the way, those lemon enemas, are they in the original protocol by Arnold Ehret, or it's
No, no.
no?
What Eric talked about is drinking lemon juice. That's where the idea came from to do the enemas. We thought the lemon juice, since he talked about the lemon juice, drinking
Yeah.
lemon juice,
Ah,
we thought
okay.
about, yeah, we kind of said, man, what if we put this in a hot water bottle and do an enema? And
Yeah, absolutely.
that's how the idea came about.
Ah, but does he have enemas in the at all in the original
Yeah,
protocol?
yeah, yeah. He talked about the enemas. He had enemas at the you know, because the hot water bottle is ancient.
Yeah, yeah, I know, I know.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, he had enemas at his sanitarium, and
Uh-huh.
yeah. So he talked
Mhm.
about it, but the lemon, we kind of brought that to the table.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you very much for your life-saving job. Thank you
Well,
so, so much.
I just hope everybody checks out the Mucusles Diet healing system and start doing the work, man. Because if we can get everybody to become a little bit more rational
Yeah.
and a little bit more loving and have a little bit more understanding
Mhm.
about why they're here and what their purpose is, we like I always tell people, this place can't stay this nasty forever.
Absolutely.
So if we start the process, yourself, myself, we all are starting the process
Right,
of,
right.
of, of, of real change. And what it is a life culture. We got to get out of the death culture,
Yeah.
because that's
Ab
what we've been living in, is the death culture.
Absolutely.
E-
Absolutely.
everything is around death in this in
Right,
this culture. So we
right.
gotta we gotta do a blueprint in our heads and see this vision of a life culture.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
And it starts with not having to kill something so that you can live.
that's right.
So
That's right. Okay, brother. Have a nice
thank you,
day.
man, and thank everybody that was listening. I hope everybody gets into whatever. I know it's a fasting group, so man, I'm down with the long fast, man. Go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you,
See you.
brother. Blessings. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.